Okay, you all can you see the screen? Hello.
Yeah, sure, Bajit.
Okay. So one second. Okay. So today we'll be just detailing and discussing in detail about Tobias Carlyle. Obviously, in the first session which we covered of this this series, we already covered the acquirers multiple criteria by Tobias Carlyle. So today we'll be just focusing on the case study so that we can directly see the practical example of how his here he is. Hello.
Shubhajit, small update from my side. I'm still working because I'm on month-end close. So
Okay.
today I will be not more interactive. I hope Atul or Rupesh can assist you since you are on mobile. Just for that, because I'm
No,
able
no,
to.
no. Right now I am in the right now I'm in the system only.
Okay, great. Maybe today I'll be doing multitasking. Like I'm working as well as attending the webinar. So I don't want to miss the webinar actually. So that's better.
Okay, nice. Uh, okay, fine. I'll just start the whole thing now. How do I access the chat panel? Okay. Okay. So now all of you can see this screen, right? Okay. So do any of you recall is the acquirers multiple which we already covered on the first session? Do you know what it is and why do we give so much importance to Tobias Carlyle in the whole value investing series? Any of you recollect that Tobias Carlyle and acquirers
Acquire
multiple?
It's
enterprises
enterprise
value
value divided by operating income, right?
income.
Yes, correct. Enterprise value divided by operating. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is the and Tobias Carlyle was the person who believed that it is if you buy great companies at fair prices, if you buy great companies at great prices, you'll get a good return. But um, if you buy even fair companies, that is companies which are not that much assured of giving you good returns, but if you pay great prices from them, over the long term, your return would be much better. So this thing which we are keeping towards the end, that is called fair companies to fair for great companies. If we pay great prices, that is the philosophy of Warren Buffett, Joel Greenblatt, these kind of even even Manish Pabrai. These are the kind of investors who themselves belong to a club known as Rule One Club, which we discussed briefly on the first day of our series. That what is Rule One Club? Rule One is do not lose money,
Don't lose
and
money.
uh, ru- yeah, Rule One is do not lose money, and Rule Two is do not forget Rule Number One. So that is
Money.
basically that is basically Rule One Club. So many of the people are like Warren Buffett followers. So what happened? Benjamin Graham followers, there is one set of people who are Benjamin Graham followers. Uh, what is the difference between Benjamin Graham followers and Warren Buffett followers? Benjamin Graham followers, they believe that they should purchase the company at the best price. It doesn't matter if the company is good or not. Doesn't matter whether earnings grow or not. Whether the company's competitive advantage remains there or not doesn't matter. Doesn't bother about. There is not at all any botheration about what kind of company you are purchasing. The only thing is you purchase it at a very good price. Am I clear so far?
Is it good price, right?
Yeah, purchase good price. You may be buying a trash company also, doesn't matter. As long as you purchase at a good price, that is okay for you. So that is Benjamin Graham philosophy. And there are people who follow the Benjamin Graham philosophy, just like there are people like Tobias Carlyle. There are people like Carl Icahn, Seth Klarman. These are the kind of people who follow the pure Benjamin Graham criteria. We have already covered the in-depth Benjamin Graham criteria. These people are just adding to that. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, and today we'll be studying one such person known as Tobias Carlyle. He's a dude from Australia, and he has all kind of he has like completely come up with a very simple mechanism to find out great prices for any kind of company. It can be great company, it can be trash company, doesn't matter. All right. And why is he so successful? Why is he so successful? It is something known as mean reversion. Uh, so I'll just instead of talking about it, I'll show you. Wait one second. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Clear.
Okay. So uh, see the criteria which I have set over here. I said that acquirers multiple, which is the ratio which we have covered up. That should be less than 3. What does that mean? That operating profit should be maximum 3 times of enterprise value. And what is enterprise value? Can you clarify what is enterprise value? What do we mean by enterprise value?
So total current assets should be it is total current assets minus all liabilities.
No. Enterprise value is different. Enterprise value means your total market cap plus total debt less total cash.
I mean total is market cap minus cash, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That is enterprise value.
Yeah.
I wanted companies with dividend payout, but if we delete that criteria, let us see. enterprise value. Let us see. Enterprise value should be so. So did you see the things we did over here? We said enterprise value should be less than three times of operating profit. Acquire is multiple modified should be less than three times acquire. Operating profit should be more than zero. I want current price to be less than 20 so that if I put only 500 rupees per company and I'm not going to put more than that because I do not know what kind of companies these are because if you see the market capitalization of these companies, they are only 2 crores, 4 crores like that. They are very small companies. So I do not want to put more than 500 rupees at all in these kind of companies. Is it all right?
Yeah, yeah.
So even if I put only 500, hello?
Should this you're making these note formulas? Is it based on I mean uh, which person's philosophy? Like you're writing free rights?
It is Tobias Carlyle. Uh, he is the faithful follower of Benjamin Graham. Only he has come up with his own ratio. That's it. Today we'll
Own,
be. Can you repeat?
this ratio is the person's own ratio, right? The author's own ratio.
Yeah. Basically, it's a ratio which is following Benjamin Graham. But he has come up with like this. He's the person from the Benjamin Graham school of thought. He's just coming up with his own ratio. That is his own research.
Okay.
Is it all right?
So on Benjamin's order of ratios, right?
Yeah, Benjamin Graham school. We have already covered Benjamin Graham in detail, but this is much more simple.
Okay, okay. And can you please provide that for ratios in the chart box, right?
Yes, this is the one. I'll be sending the recording anyway, but still, this is the uh, your operating your enterprise value should be on maximum three times operating profit. Operating profit should be positive. That I want. Current price should be less than 20. That means I do not know what kind of companies these are because these are very small cap. You can see market cap is 2 crores, 1.5 crores, like this. They're very small companies. So I do not want to put more than 500 rupees per company. Even so, because the price is less than 20 rupees per share, I'll still be getting 25 shares for this company. Is it clear?
Yeah. It comes under which category? We have three categories, right? Defense stock, enterprise stock, and the.
These are pure net nets. These are net stocks of Benjamin Graham.
Okay.
Net nets. Remember the third category which I told you about.
Yes.
So this is that category. I'll just bring some water. One second. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the criteria I have set up for myself. You did not put current price should be less than 20. But I have set up this criteria not for any other reason, but for the fact that even if I put 500 rupees for companies like this, I should at least get 25 shares. That's why I've put the criteria like this. But this current price less than 20 is not something which Tobias Carlyle has recommended. That is my own criteria. Is it okay? basically, I'm not sure what kind of companies these are because you can see the market capitalization 2.06 crores, 2.88 crores, 1.15 crores. You can see the companies, they're so small, 1.47 crores. So, if I'm going to put my money in this company and have only 500 rupees for each company, I should at least get 25 shares. That's why I put the price as less than 20. Okay. Am I clear so far?
Yeah, clear, clear.
Okay. Uh, and uh, and as you can see, if you don't know how to calculate enterprise value, your market cap is 2.06, your debt is 0, and you subtract the cash, then you get enterprise value. So Rupesh or anyone else, if you have a calculator with you on screen, kindly calculate this. 2.06 2.06 plus 0,
0.
2.06 plus 0, because debt is 0. Minus 2.06 plus 0 minus cash, which we take as x. Okay, let's take it as an equation. 2.06 plus x is equal to minus 19.29. So then what is the cash? Yes. So what is the x?
21, 20,
It is
35.
no, it is minus 19.29. Remember the sign.
Yeah,
It is not
minus.
Minus 17.23.
So cash. No, cash won't be minus. It will be positive because this is 19.29. Because this is minus 19.29. So it will be minus 19.29 plus 2.06 is equal to minus x. So minus will, so it will be 17.23.
No, you're what you 2.06 plus 0 minus x, right? Is equal to minus 19.29.
Yes, correct. So how much is
Then it's 21.35.
so just kindly type in that. Okay. So 21.35 is the cash. So if you are given two of those things, you can calculate the third one. Am I clear?
अच्छा ये it's enterprise value.
Can you repeat?
It's basically enterprise value plus this 2.06 is
Wait, I typed over here. Yes, correct. This is exactly the equation, Ritesh. Right. Market cap plus debt less cash is equal to enterprise. That is exactly the equation for enterprise value. And Tobias Carlyle says enterprise value divided by operating earnings is your acquirer's value. So it doesn't matter what kind of company you are having. Even if you have the worst kind of company, if you hold on for the stock for at least 1 year for mean reversion to work its magic, you will have the great result.
What is this enterprise value upon operating profit?
Operating earnings. So that is your formula for acquirers multiple.
Okay, acquirers multiple.
So that is the central thing which we are studying today. What is acquirers multiple and what is mean reversion? All right. So what exactly is mean reversion? Mean reversion is when uh, companies 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 revert to long-term average in terms of performance.
So Rajit,
Ah,
this in this case, the what is the acquirers multiple of this company? First one.
acquirers multiple is minus 91.86. They are showing.
So how we derived that one? I'm just checking because EV is 21.35.
Yeah. EV is no. EV is minus 19.29.
Okay.
So minus 19.29 divided by your operating of 12 month operating income of 12 month is 0.21. So minus 19.29 divided by 0.21 is how much?
Okay. 91.86.
How much?
Yeah, same.
The same, no? Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that this is correct then. 91.86. Okay. So that is
So
the
in this case, suppose this AMM is negative 91, so it's good or it's bad?
any
It's
any
positive, right?
any AMM. Yeah, any AMM which is less than 3 is good. So whether it is 0, negative, 1, 2, 3, it is good. Any AMM which is less than 3 is good as per this criteria.
So it means technically it is good, right? If minus means it's good.
Anything less than positive 3 is good. So anything negative, 0, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, anything less than 3 is good.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so why now people may wonder. Warren Buffett says that you invest in large cap companies which will keep on giving you uh, growing returns. Suppose this month you are getting $1 million from free cash flow from the company. Next year you'll get $1.10 million. Another next to next year you'll get $1.21. So $1.21 million. Every year you'll be getting higher and higher returns. So obviously that's what you want. Why should anyone anyway purchase companies which are giving you uncertain returns? You don't know whether it will give you good returns or not because they are not really good companies to invest in. Why should anyone invest in such companies anyway? The reason is something known as mean reversion, which we were discussing. Mean reversion is when companies revert to long-term average. Now, what do we mean by long-term average? Long-term average of what? Long-term average of earnings per share. Okay. Now, what is earnings per share? If you remember our first session, earnings per share is net income. Net income is net profit divided by your total number of shares. So earnings per share is net income. You can see the screen, right? Net income less preferred capital, preferred income, preferred payment, preferred dividend divided by total shares. You always say earnings per share is what is really left to the company after everyone else is paid off. So even preference shares are kind of outside. Even though they are owners, they need to be paid first for any dividend. So they are like not interested in residual share of the company. They want to be paid first, so they are not really owners. Preferred shareholders are not having voting rights. Remember that. Whether you talk of Indian companies or any other companies, uh, they do not get the voting rights. Only equity shares have the voting rights because they are the real owners of the company. They take the real risk. So companies, if they are suffering the loss and they do not get the dividend, it is the real equity share owners who are the real uh, owners of the company, not preferred shares. Preferred shares will be granted dividend. Suppose you don't have the enough cash to give them the dividend this year, you will have to pay them retrospective dividend. Am I clear? Hello? Am I clear, everyone? Okay. So and enterprise value ideally should be less than zero, but then we'll hardly have any companies. That's why I put enterprise value less than. But still, enterprise value less than zero. Also, we get 25 companies. So enterprise value less than zero means what? Your cash is more than the sum total of what is it? Tell me. What does enterprise value? Anyone type it over here. What does enterprise value negative mean? Type it in the chat panel. More cash than what? More cash than in comparison to what? Debt and
All liabilities.
debt and what?
Equity. Debt and equity.
Market cap. Yes. Not book value. Remember. Remember, we are talking about market cap over here, not book value. Book value may be more than market cap. So debt plus debt. Debt, remember total debt. Whether it is short-term debt, long-term debt, doesn't matter. Debt plus market cap is less than your right. Am I clear so far?
So it will lead to negative balance, right? Negative market this one.
It will lead to
Negative this enterprise value, right?
yes, negative enterprise value will lead to overall returns which are far superior to the market.
Okay.
I'll just open the Kindle book from where I have taken all this research. If you can see the screen over here, you can see the screen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll close the chat panel for now. This is the book by Tobias Carlyle. You can see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Shubham.
So I'm going to location. I have to manually go. This doesn't work like others. In this book, he explains why the acquirer's multiple is even better than Warren Buffett's system. Let's go to that chapter where this is the chapter. How to beat the little book that beats the market. So the little book that beats the market is the book by Joel Greenblatt. Okay. Now, Joel Greenblatt is one of the finance managers, financial investors who came up with the quantitative explanation of companies. So Warren Buffett's criteria is what? Warren Buffett's criteria is great companies at wonderful prices. So now that is very cryptic because what do you mean by great companies? So Warren Buffett normally uh, he dedicated over 45 years explaining what is the criteria of defining great companies. All right. Hello.
Yeah, Subhajit.
So he defined what are the great companies, but uh, just theoretical definition of what are great companies is, is not helpful because you need to know a practical, down to earth system to know what are great companies and what are great prices. So Joel Greenblatt uh, came up uh, came up with that idea of what is a wonderful company at a fair price. So what is the criteria? Wonderful company. Uh, Suppose you have two system of rankings. All right. So wonderful company is higher operating earnings in terms of equity, higher return on equity or return on invested capital. All right. What is wonderful company? Wonderful company is higher return on invested capital in, ter- in terms of your equity investment. So, is this first part of the equation clear, all of you?
Yeah.
So that is one way of sorting the companies. Um, so you'll be ranking the so suppose you have say BSE Sensex, all right. BSE Sensex is only 30 companies. Hello.
Yeah, it's basically operating earning or divided by equity.
Yes, that is the definition of a wonderful company by Joel Greenblatt. I'm not talking about Tobias Carlyle over here. Remember, I'm contrasting with Tobias Carlyle. So the wonderful company part is defined by this part of the equation. Operating earnings by total equity.
Okay.
And what do you mean by fair price? Fair price is called the earning. The second part is what is called earnings yield. Okay. So what is earnings yield? He's saying that he'll explain in the next chapter. Let us go to the next chapter rather than taking time over here. This is the acquirer's multiple, which he defines as fair price, enterprise value divided by operating earnings. So this is the thing he comes up. And if we want to see what is the original criteria by yes, Mohammad Suhail, what problem do you have? You don't have sound. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure, Fajit, you're audible.
Yes, sir. He's saying there's no sound. Okay.
I was having the same problem. I log out and log in once again. I could not hear you before.
Okay. So, Suhail, kindly try to log in and log out again. Log out and log in again. The problem will be solved. Rakesh, can you type it over here in the chat panel so that he understands? Rakesh or anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So let us see what do you mean by acquirer's multiple. Let us now see what exactly Joel Greenblatt meant by fair price. Joel Greenblatt fair my are you seeing this clearly? The screen visible? See, this is the one. See, this is the fair price part. Rakesh, since you can't take the notes, Rupesh, can you do me a favor, please? Can you just note down these formulas in a Word document or in an Excel document in your computer? Since Rakesh is busy today.
Great.
Still, I can maintain the notes. Not a problem. Is it okay?
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
So here,
Can you go to the? I can take a screenshot.
huh?
Screenshot is better.
Because I want to take all.
Okay. Can you take the screenshot?
Yeah, I'll take a screenshot and.
Yeah. Take the screenshot here.
Possible for you to copy paste?
I don't know you can copy paste screenshot or not. Can you do that? Any others?
No. I can do that because I know I have some tool. If you go a little up, I can copy. I can take a screenshot.
Huh. How to take a
Possible to
screenshot?
talk about- I'll take a screenshot. I know how to take
Okay.
a screenshot. And
This is yes. This is the how to calculate the magic formula. Rakesh, once you paste it over here, just paste it on the group on the WhatsApp group as well.
how to make it in a good format? Then I'll paste in the group.
Okay, okay.
Makes sense because
Yeah, do that. That will be better. Yes. Others, are you clear?
Basic earning yield is equal to EBITDA divided by enterprise's value.
No, not EBITDA. EBIT.
anything before interest and tax.
Okay. Earning before
Before interest and tax. Interest and tax.
interest. Okay. Okay.
Not EBITDA. EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and
Tax
amortization.
and depreciation. Depreciation, yes.
No, this is not EBITDA. This is EBIT. Earnings before interest and tax. But Tobias Carlyle had a different approach. Tobias Carlyle had a different approach because, yes, tell me.
Is this okay?
One second. I've closed the chat panel. One second.
Oh, first one is reverse. EBIT reverse. Okay, first one is reverse.
The first one is reverse. EBIT by enterprise.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I corrected this.
And what is ROIC?
ROIC
Invested
is
capital.
return on invested capital.
Capital, yes.
So return, you know what is return? That is your EBIT only. Return is what? And earnings before interest and tax. So what is that? Let us give a simple formula for that. Net income plus interest plus tax. Knowing these simple ratios are good because all our quantitative analysis will be based on these things only down the line. We do not need to analyze the company. We just analyze their earnings. That's all. The formula which I have pasted over here is EBIT. Am I clear about what is EBIT?
You're clear, Shojit.
And invested capital. Yes, can you clear? Can you repeat? I'm not unable to hear you. Can you repeat again? Next, net fixed assets plus invested capital is net fixed assets. Net fixed assets, we all know that net fixed assets means your gross fixed assets less depreciation. That is your net fixed assets. But what is net working capital? Let us find it. What is net working capital? Net working capital. Greenblatt. What is net working capital? See, anyone can, all can see the screen, right? So net working capital is current assets less current liabilities. But this one, if anyone, if you can take the screenshot, but you can't because this is somebody needs to note this down. Net working capital is current assets minus excess cash minus current assets minus excess cash would be in one bracket. Cannot take.
Can you copy paste? Can you copy? I'm sorry. Can you copy paste the formula?
Yeah. Okay. Copy. Can anyone see?
Yeah, it's clear.
Rakesh, remember these formulas after the class is over. In your notes, kindly put these formulas and then paste it even in the WhatsApp group. All right.
Sure.
So this is what is the definition as per Joel Greenblatt. So add it. Let us see what is net fixed assets. Net fixed assets is what is net fixed assets? Net fixed assets is fixed assets minus depreciation.
Minus depreciation. Yes.
Fixed assets minus depreciation. So add both of them up. What is invested capital? Can you add all of these things to come up with invested capital formula? Add all of this. Tell me the denominator. Denominator is invested capital. So invested capital is current assets minus cash. Current assets minus cash. Plus, no, minus current liabilities minus short-term debt plus fixed assets minus depreciation. So this is the whole formula of invested capital. This is invested capital. And what is return on invested capital? It is your EBIT divided by invested capital. So invested capital is the denominator. Return on invested capital is EBIT divided by invested capital. Am I clear?
Yeah.
So that is one of the criteria. So criteria one by Greenblatt. Criteria one by Greenblatt is uh, return on invested capital, and criteria two is let's go directly to the one second. To some other side. Magic formula Greenblatt. I think we calculated magic. Yeah, so here second, this is the first criteria is EBIT by enterprise value. Higher earnings yield and higher return on invested capital. This is the criteria two is earnings yield. Yield spelling is wrong. Is everyone clear with this?
Yeah.
So now we will be contrasting these two ratios. Now we'll be contrasting these two ratios with Tobias Carlyle. And Tobias Carlyle, we know from our beginning of today, is enterprise value by operating. So what is the difference now? There's a difference between operating income and operating income versus EBIT. Do you know why operating income is more preferable? It is because operating income is does not involve any accounting manipulations, because depreciation, if people are involved in accounts, they'll know that depreciation and amortization, they involve a lot of accounting manipulation, and you are given extreme freedom to decide what would be your depreciation and amortization as per your tax manipulation and all that. So operating income doesn't have any of those sort of that kind of issues with it. Hello.
Yeah, so we're following.
So what is operating income? If we go by the statement of accounts, operating income is gross profit minus administrative expenses
minus SMG.
admin expenses minus
Sales and general expenses, SMG.
yeah gross profit minus all the administrative expenses. What is G?
General, sales and general expenses.
Okay. So, yeah, sales and general expenses. So because there is manipulation involved in this manipulation involved in accounting, that's why Tobias Carlyle doesn't look at EBIT. He looks at operating income. Even though by formula they should be the same, but because there is a lot of manipulation of things, you normally find that operating income is different from EBIT. Am I clear so far?
So basically, we have to look at as the operating income to be on a positive side. Ideally should be on a positive side.
Yes, it should be on a positive. Yes, because you are that is the basis of the company running, isn't it? That if you are operating at a loss, then the company will be shutting down soon. But if the operating income is positive, it even if you have debt, even if you have other things, doesn't matter. If you have operating earnings, you can really cover everything because your operating earnings, out of your operating income, you can pay interest on debt, you can pay the principal on the debt, you can service the debt. As long as the operating income is there, you can very well nicely service the debt. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So operating income has to be positive. Has to be positive. And enterprise value ideally should be less than 1/3 of operating or less than operating income. Note this formula everyone. So that means what? Your total market cap plus total debt less cash should be less than 3 times your this is what we gave in the initial screener, remember? Remember?
Yes, yes.
So now that we have looked at what is the screen, let us spend some time revising what is the value, because in value investing, finding out value is the most important thing. We uh, we we defined a criteria to find out value in one of our earlier lectures. Remember that we determined value by free cash flow. We determined value by dividend. Remember in our second lecture, the second session which we had, we defined what is value. So let us try to find out value for a particular company. And let us take a live example whether we should. Normally, we have seen by the criteria that this particular company is they are meeting the screener, so they should be meeting the definition of our investable universe. But still, let us try to. Let us try to find out company-wise what is the enterprise value, and rather than enterprise value, what is the intrinsic value of the company? Because we will be going by intrinsic value only. Remember the criteria. Only if the price is then half of intrinsic value, because today's lesson otherwise is over. That we have found out and detailed. We have a detailed discussion about Joel Greenblatt, and we have discussed mean reversion and all that. But we want to practice something known as value determination for any company. And rather than me doing it, I'll be now encouraging you to do it. And we will invest in a company only when the current price is less than half of intrinsic value. Can you see this in the chat panel? Kindly clarify. Price should be less than half of intrinsic value. Remember, we did this in our second session.
Current price is equal to less than or 1.4 net block.
What?
Current price is less than or equal to 1.2 into net block, right?
Half of intrinsic value. We don't know what is intrinsic value. We need to calculate what is intrinsic value. Because remember, this calculation is very important for all the companies which you will be doing. So you need to calculate intrinsic value even though you are not given that. Okay. So intrinsic value we calculate on free cash flows. We will not consider. Remember, last time we calculated intrinsic value by dividend. We followed something known as dividend discount model. But today we will find out. Yes. Yes, anyone has any doubt? Tell me. Today we will be calculating intrinsic value because that is the most important calculation. We need to do it ourselves. All right. So we will be calculating intrinsic value by both the formulas, not only by dividend discount model. We'll also find out intrinsic value by free cash flow value. So dividend discount model for valuation. First you will be calculating by dividend discount model. So what are the inputs that you require for that?
Hello?
Hello?
Shojit,
Yes. Hello?
expected dividend per share, cost of capital equity, and dividend growth rates. Right? And cost of capital equity.
No, first we'll calculate the intrinsic value by dividend discount model. Then we'll go by free cash flows. So let us first calculate by dividend discount model like we did last time. Okay. Because we are right now trying to find out all the inputs. All right. Then we can calculate. So what are the inputs we require? Firstly, we require dividend. Okay. And we need dividend to grow by 10% each year. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I need you to do the calculation yourself so that we can be very clear about intrinsic value. Okay. So we need first. What do we need? First of all, we need the dividend. What is the dividend for this company?
.01%.
Dividend what?
Dividend yield. You're looking at NBCC, no?
Yeah, NBCC. Yes.
Dividend yield is 0.01%.
So let us find out what is the dividend yield formula.
It is equal to book value, not market value, market cap divided by dividend per share.
Let's see. Remember, screeners will give us a good idea, but this is the final level of research which we need to do on individual companies if we want to go beyond just the screeners. Okay.
Yeah.
Because after all, it's our hard-earned money. We want to do slightly more research than just what the screeners tell us. This is that deeper level of research which we want to do. Okay. Suppose you don't bother about that company, just want to invest 500 rupees in the company without any further research. That is also okay. But this is one step beyond the screener. We are already seeing that that particular company meets the screener, so that initial definition is already done. But this is the second level beyond that. Am I clear about that? Rupesh and whoever else is there, I don't know who else is there. I need every one of you to look at the inputs so that we can individually calculate the valuation for this particular company, okay, by two different methods. So right now we are in the first method, known as dividend discount model. Okay. So what is dividend yield, which I think Rupesh or Rakesh both you saw. So what is dividend yield per share? annual dividend divided by market price.
Market value? Yes, yes, I said.
So dividend yield is equal to annual dividend
For sure.
divided by price per share. So if we have dividend yield is 4.01, and we have price per share as how much? 16.20. So can you find out what is dividend for this company?
64.96. 64.96 if I'm not wrong.
Where? Can you give the explanation of that?
15.2 into 4.01. 4.0 possibly right, sorry. 15.2 into 0.0401. 0.64, man.
No. Firstly, what is dividend yield? Dividend yield is your dividend by price. So price will
Yes,
go.
yes.
So price will be multiplied to the other side. So dividend is equal to
280.
the dividend would be your price times your dividend yield. So what is dividend? Dividend would be 4. What is that? 4.01%. 4.01%. Remember, this is percent, not number. 4.01% into 16 point. How much is it?
2.26.
10.2.
So how much is it? 2.26. So dividend is 2.223. Say, okay. So this is the numerator. Expected dividends. One second. So dividend 1, just note down this formula. Dividend 1 should be your current dividend plus 1 plus your growth rate. So what did we ask for growth rate? It should be minimum 10% growth. So what is dividend 1? Can you calculate? It's 2.23 into 1.1. How much is it? What is dividend 1?
2.453. 2.453.
2.453. So let us take 2.45. So dividend 1 is 2.45. Now we want to find out.
But how do you get 2.23? I did not get it. 16.2 into 4%, it comes to 2.23.
Because he has calculated that way. 4.01% into 16.20.
Yeah, it is coming 0.6 something. How it is 2.23?
Rakesh?
4.01 into
4.01 percentage.
percentage 6.2, 14.01%. It should 2.269.
16.20 into
16.2 into
4.01 percentage.
1%.
4.0,
Yeah,
4.01.
percent that
It
is.
should be less. No, it should be less than that, I think.
2.26 if you take percentage. 16.20 into 4,
Oh, I can-
4.0 into
I don't know.
4.01%.
So it is 4.01 percentage means 4.01 into 100. 4.01 divided by 100 into 16.20.
It is 0.6496.
0.6, yeah, sorry, 496.
Then we have to calculate. We have to change the calculation.
That's what I call 65%. That is like 0.64.
It's 0.6496 dividend. So then dividend 1 would change. Dividend 1 would be 0.65 into 1.1. So how much is it?
0,
0.71. Okay.
71.
So that one. No, it is not percentage. We are not. We are talking about absolute dividend over here. Percentage is
Yes, sorry.
this is absolute dividend. We are not talking about percentage over here. So next year's
If it
dividend.
crores, right?
Yes, correct. No, this is per share. Dividend per share.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Because this is also price per share, so that is dividend per share. Am I clear so far? Because every step is necessary for you to calculate intrinsic value properly. So dividend 1. Hello.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So dividend will be 0.71. Remember, that is the expected dividend per share is dividend 1. So expected dividend per share is numerator. So it is 0.71. Again, we need to find out something known as weighted average cost of capital. This CCE is nothing but cost of capital equity. What is cost of capital equity? Yeah, it is. It's a weighted average between bank interest cost plus dividend cost divided by 2. So let us calculate for that NBCC. What is the interest rate? Remember the first time we calculated interest rate. Interest rate is interest payment divided by debt. So debt is 0. So interest will obviously be 0 because debt. If only debt is there, then only you will have interest to pay on that. So because debt is 0, interest will also be 0. Am I clear?
But if I go his profit and loss statement on the screener itself, the
Yeah.
interest part is showing as 3.
What is showing as 3?
Profit interest. If you go to the profit and loss on top of the screener,
Where?
PX quarters profit and loss statement of NBCC.
Where did you find the profit and loss statement?
This is on top of the screener, top of your this screen, top of your screen.
Top of the screen. Then
Its current price is 16.20.
yes.
If you look slightly up above the current price, slightly above the current price. It's profit and loss. Below,
Profit
below. Yeah.
profit and loss. Correct. So profit and loss. Yes.
If you look at this here, if I check this interest part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 column is the interest part.
Yes.
They are saying
Is there, no?
as per March 2019 is 3.
Yeah. This is 3. There. So why are they paying? The question is, why are they paying interest when the debt is 0? Maybe that time the debt was not 0. Because if debt is 0, why should they pay interest? Doesn't make any sense. The interest is 3 because that time the debt must have been there. What is TTM? What is TTM? TTM meaning trailing 12 months. Yeah, most of the profits are taken like trailing 12 months. So let us take trailing 12 months interest. Trailing 12 months interest, they are showing us 6 for this company. So debt must have been there that time. So that's why they calculated.
And depreciation, they are showing 5.
Depreciation we don't require for this calculation. Depreciation is with regard to fixed assets. This model we don't require depreciation. Let's go here. Expected dividend per share should be 0.71. We calculated that. Remember. Okay. Okay. Cost of capital equity. What is R? This calculation is important because we already have the growth rate as 10%. Let us see what is the cost of capital. So remember, what is cost of capital? It is interest cost plus dividend cost divided by 2. So let us see 6. Let us take the if you can see the screen over here, everyone. What is trailing 12 months thing? Profit and loss. Trailing 12 months is 6. Interest is 6. What is dividend?
Dividend payout is 31%.
That is dividend payout ratio is 31% of your net profit. So if this is, let us take an average of that. Let's take an average of last 4 years. Rakesh, find out the average of this. 41, 26, 30.
Plus 41 into 6 plus 31 divide 4. 34.75. 34.75.
So 30. So 34.75 into
percent. Okay.
into net profit.
Into 143, 142 plus 6. It's 345.
Okay. No, actually we require 6 divided by debt. We require 6 divided by debt for debt cost, and we require this we already have 34.75%. So dividend cost is 37.75%.
Uh-huh.
So what is the debt? Let us take debt. Let's see balance sheet. Okay. What do you mean by other liability?
There is that borrowings are zero.
These are like the yeah. These are like trade payables. These are not really. They are part of like current liabilities. But still, we'll take that as an example. So can you take the average of this? Can you take the average of this? Average of these two.
3909 plus 6379 plus 10 125 215 plus 11601 divide 4 8026.
8026.
Yes, it's average.
Okay. So what is 6 divided by 8026? That is hardly anything.
6 divide 6 is 1337.66. Sorry, I'm doing reverse.
Reverse. 6 divided by
80
8026.
6 divided by 8026. Oh, 0.000747.
Just type it in. So 0.0008, say 0.0008 plus 0.345. Rakesh, you add these two. 0.345.
It's a 0.3450.
3450. It should be 0.
Yeah.
So this divided by 2. This should be divided by 2.
1729.
So this should be 0.1729. Okay. So now that you have done that, let us go to our formula. So D1 is what? D1 is equal to 0.71, which we calculated, remember? Weighted average cost of capital, now we have discovered, is how much? 0.1729. And what is your growth rate? Is 10%. So 0.10.
10%.
So now you subtract weighted average capital, from that you subtract growth. How much you will get?
I mean, minus 0.1.
No. 0.1729 minus 0.1.
Yeah, that's okay. 0.0729.
0.0729. That is the denominator.
Yes.
So our intrinsic value now is 0.71 divided by 0.0729. Can you calculate how much it is? Intrinsic value per share.
0.71 divided by 0.0729. It's a 9.7393.
How much can 9.774 say? 9.74. Okay. Okay. And what is your margin of safety? Margin of safety is 9.74 divided by 2. How much is it?
Divided by 2 means 4.86.
So that should be your price of the share to match margin of safety. But what is the margin of safety here? What is the current price here? Current price is
16 rupees, 16.20.
16.20. So clearly it doesn't match the margin of safety. Current price is greater than margin of safety price. So if you go into company level research, then you're not getting the margin of safety. Price is not low enough to beat that particular. Am I clear so far?
Right. But his price has come from 60 rupees to 16 rupees. A month before, the price of this company was 60 rupees.
65 last year, May 2009.
No. The last 2 months back, I think. It's in.
Let's see 1 month. Last month it was 26 rupees.
Yeah, it's in a year. It's 52 weeks high is 67.
In 1 month it has come down from 26 to 16.
26 to 60.
And in 1 year it has come down from 65 to
67 to last low is 14 rupees. If you check the 52 weeks high and low,
where did you find that?
it's just above the chart. Just above the chart.
Just over the chart.
On right hand side.
Where?
On this screen, right hand side.
Right hand side.
Current price. If you go just go up. Just go up. Up.
Further up.
No. If you check current price, on the right of current price, it's 52 weeks. Right and high and
yeah, correct. 67.40.
yeah.
So from 67 from 67.40 to 67.40 it has come down to 14.05.
Yeah. 16.05 is the last lowest, but current price is 16. From 14 to
16.2.
16.
Yeah. So you can see that even after coming down so much, you're not getting margin of safety price for this particular company. The margin of safety price should be 4.87, but that is much lesser than your current price of 16.20.
But the net worth of this company is much more than that. The market cap is around 29, 2907 crores.
Yeah.
And book value is 7 rupees.
No, you should
Might
Rupesh, I'm not speaking anything. I'm just calculating with everyone this intrinsic value. Yeah. So what you're saying? Uh,
my point here is
can you find out book value per share? So book value per share is how much? Book value per share
7.32.
7.32.
Yeah, 7.32.
And what is current? So current price is even higher than book value per share.
Yes, yes.
Current price per share is 16.20. So it doesn't meet Benjamin Graham's criteria yet for this. Margin of
It has
safety
to
it doesn't meet. Even though on other criteria it matches, but margin of safety price is not there.
and its other criteria also P ratio. Price to earning is 20.51.
That's quite high even now. What is earnings per share? Earnings per share we can calculate 20.51 if that is the stock.
PE ratio.
So if current price is 16.20, so 16.20 you divide by 20.51. So what is the earnings per share? Rakesh, if you are there.
It's coming out to be 0.78.
How much? 0.78.
Yeah. If we divide 16.2 divided by 20.5.
0.79.
0.7. Yeah.
So even though the earnings is 0.79, still the market is valuing the company at 16.20. So this company does meet your margin of safety criteria.
So as per that, the price of this company will further slide down
Yeah.
in coming months.
Yes. Because our intrinsic value, what we calculated, 4.87, right? Our margin of safety price was how much? 4.87, where it is much less than 16.20. So until and unless the price reaches 4.87, we cannot invest in this company. So even though it matches one of the criteria of acquirers multiple. If we purely go by that criteria, we can safely invest. but on other criterias, it is not yet safe to invest in this company because price is still around 4 times higher than what your margin of safety price should be. So we can see that one stream can be met, but unless we do deeper analysis, we shouldn't go for it. That is one criteria for measuring value. The other criteria for measuring value is something known as remember the value measurement we did by dividend discount model. But there is one more criteria known as free cash flow criteria. Free cash flow. Free cash flow. Okay.
What is that?
Let us take it step by step. So free cash flow, company valuation. Company valuation. So this thing need to note down. Operating free cash flow. Okay, this is a long and complicated formula. We'll take up we'll start with this in our next session. So remember, Rakesh. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, it's in mute.
Yeah, it's huge. So our first thing before we move on to any other investor or something, will be calculating free cash value for valuation for NBCC. And our next meeting would be when Friday 8th.
Can you Friday means what day? Once again, what day? Oh,
Day
fine,
after tomorrow.
yesterday.
Day after tomorrow.
Fine.
Friday is 3rd April.
3rd April. Because this is very huge calculation, and there are a lot of scenarios also. We have to take this up in detail. And what is the company? Remember, if we forget, just make a note of this. We'll do this company.
NBCC.
In BCC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us see. In one value criteria, it fails. If it meets the value criteria in the other one, you can see. But we can't do it today. It's very long. So that will be the first thing we'll be doing. Second thing we will be doing is we have already calculated Greenblatt's formula in detail. So what we will be doing now is move on to Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. And there is so much to discuss in this. We will at least take three to four sessions to discuss what is in full whatever they are telling, because they have a huge they everybody now follows Warren Buffett, so we need to understand in detail what is Warren Buffett's philosophy. in investment philosophy. So we'll take lots of live examples or not. But first we will do this. We've started this. Remember, first thing, Rakesh, if you can kindly note down the agenda. Agenda is first to calculate free cash flow valuation of our NBCC company.
Okay.
That is agenda one, and agenda two. And agenda two, we move on to Warren Buffett.
Sure.
If we calculate, if this takes a lot of time, then we'll try to cover little bit of Warren Buffett. Otherwise, this we'll do fully. Remember, because there are at least 3 scenarios in this calculation. So there's not only one scenario, there are 3 scenarios in free cash flow valuation, and we will be calculating all 3 because this kind of detailed analysis we have to do for all the companies. Remember, and we will be calculating all the 3 scenarios. Okay. So kindly note that in the agenda, and whenever you post the notes of today's session, you include this as well in the notes. Okay. Right. Charlie Munger, Munger.
Yeah.
All right then. So for today, that's it, and we are seeing plenty of opportunity for value investing because the stock markets are taking real hits. Today, the first day of the new financial year, and it went out by 1,300 points again. So
Yeah, market slide.
we are just facing a lot of issues now. So remember, whatever we are learning now, we have ideal opportunity to apply whatever we are learning.
Yeah.
And once Warren Buffett is over, we'll have live research. So, like one company will be researched by me, one by every participant, whoever attends the WebEx, they'll be researching one company each. And just because it shouldn't be the same company, we'll have like a group homework that I'll be analyzing one, Rakesh you one, Atul one. That.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. Shubhajit, you will get idea how to calculate the things. Real.
Yes, but remember, you will be calculating both sorts of both models. You'll be calculating free cash flow with all scenarios. You'll be calculating dividend discount model with all scenarios, and then only you will arrive at margin of safety price for all scenarios. So you will be doing all the hard work. Remember,
Yeah.
because there are 3 scenarios in free cash flow. There are 3 scenarios. We didn't cover all the 3 scenarios in dividend discount model because there are so much we did already that I didn't calculate that. But there are 3 scenarios even within the dividend discount model. I didn't go for that. I went for the simple one only. But because we do this in detail, for free cash flow, we'll go for all the 3 scenarios. Am I clear?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, then good night for now, and see you all on Friday. All right.
Okay, thank you, Shubhajit.
Good
Good
night.
night. Good night, Raj.
Good night. Good
Get
night.
out.
Good night.
Good night.